Do I
You
buy
just swear
a
on our
house?
podcast?
You put it
Dude.
in there. You put the swear word in there.
Supposed to do a disclaimer, man. My kids listen to this.
Any advice and information from this podcast is general only. It has been prepared without taking into account your individual circumstances and needs. Before acting on any advice from this podcast, you should assess and seek advice on whether it is appropriate for your needs, financial situation, and investment objectives.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Not Another Finance Podcast.
Hola!
Today we are talking about how the do I
You
buy
just
a
swear on our
house?
podcast?
You put it
Dude.
in there. You put the swear word in there.
Supposed to do a disclaimer, man. My kids listen to this. Anyway, all right, no, Jessie's right. What was it called again?
You're going to make me say it again? I'm
There
going
you
to
go.
get in trouble with editing.
I'll do the PG version. Will I ever own a house? Okay, what's your version?
How the F do I buy a house?
You know what? And it's
How do I do it?
that swear word for this type of topic, which is a hot topic at the moment. It's kind of justified by that swear word because it's, I guess, the question on everyone's lips, whether you're at a barbecue chatting to your younger friends, middle-aged friends, you see it on the news, it's nearly on all the mainstream media stuff, not that I watch too many of them. How are people going to buy a house? Cost of living crisis, people can't get in. Don't even talk about the whole city market stuff. We've definitely done episodes on this before, but because this is so popular, we thought we'd touch on it now and give a bit more of an updated version.
Yes.
So it's definitely there's something that comes up, and I think you're discussing it with some clients. I definitely am for ones that are looking at getting into the market. How the F are they going to get there? Especially with, you know, what have the property prices done the last sort of couple of years?
Yeah,
They've kind of gone in one, not kind of, majority of them have gone in one direction, especially in places where people want to live, on the east coast of Australia, the west coast of Australia, your main regional and big city towns. You know, if we talk about, because we're Queensland based, all the main hubs from Gold Coast all the way up to Cairns. I've got clients up and down like you do as well. Everyone has got a bigger chunk of the pie.
Yeah.
I do have some clients that have had some property in Mount Isa, Weipa, haven't done too well.
Oh no.
Is what it is. But for everyone else, you know, we've talked about it before, whether they bought a 150 grand bunga a few years ago or whatever, that's just, it was just whatever they wanted, and that's now worth 400 grand. They're like, what do I do with all the money? Like, good problem to have. But for those who are trying to get in the market, what was that question again? How the
F.
I'm not
going to say it again. You have to say it.
So, will I own a house? How the hell do I buy one?
This was actually a request. We get requests for our episodes now.
No big deal.
Moving up in the world.
Because because everyone's liking and subscribing as you should do. We're up into the millions of listeners. People feel free to send through emails. But this is probably a big one.
Yeah, feel free to email us a request for an episode. Cool. We'd love that.
Yeah, look, it's something we could chat about for hours, but we'll go through a little bit of a case study and just some things to consider. Again, touch on what's sort of involved. What are the banks looking at? Because they don't really tell you everything. You know, so we'll have
What about, like, if I'm earning $80,000 and I have like a $30,000 deposit? $30,000 deposit. I feel like, am I even close to buying a house? And I see all these people, like, I feel like in Townsville at the moment, it's like a club when you go to an open home, either renting or buying, and there's like 30 people waiting at the door, signing in with the real estate agent, trying to get in. Like, what chance do I have if I have that income and 30K of savings?
That's and look, there's 80 grand a year is pretty good income for, I guess, most people. Is it going to be enough to get you over the line to buy something that's half decent? You know, we only got to, as we sort of talked about, I think what does 80 grand buy you? We'll sort of go through it again. But there is a real thing, especially a little while ago, not too long ago, people in those mid-range price houses from 400 to 600 grand or whatever were turning up, and 20 or 30 people are literally down the street
It's like a club, I swear, where they're signing to get in. And
Yeah, so I don't know,
wild.
was the security frisking you like the mad cow? Yeah, I know. I kind of, if that's the case, I'd kind of just want to turn up just so I can get frisked with a rubber glove by an agent.
Oh my God.
Anytime I talk to an agent, it feels like that anyway. Fitzy chucks the plastic glove on. I'm like, oh. Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
you know, agents are definitely loving it. That's probably one we could definitely do about is, you know, what's a real estate agent's lifestyle like in the current market and the market several years ago when you couldn't give a house away and they had to really fight for their listing and their commission. Oh, it's a good one. I want to. Should we bring an agent
I'm
in?
sorry, I can't get over the rubber glove comment. I'm still stuck on that.
Yeah. And I tell a lot of my clients sometimes as well,
God.
like agents definitely do that to some of their clients because when the market was pumping, you know, agents pick up 2 to 3%. They might sell it in a week. They might just send one email out, blip,
Done.
yeah, and then just getting offers rolling in. They haven't even had to get out of bed.
Oh gosh.
Here's what it is. Story for another time, but that's all right.
Anyway.
All right. So, JMac, some of the things involved are for this person earning, say, 80 grand a year. They've saved 30-ish grand a year. What's involved? What do they need to work on? Mental game, talking to banks, talking to lenders, shopping around. Talk us through it.
I guess when you do go to get a home loan, you either go direct to the bank
Yep.
and have a chat. You might have one you're familiar with and you're happy with, and you go direct to them.
Yep.
And they can give you an indication of perhaps roughly or go in depth with based on your loans, your expenses, how much you can borrow.
Gives you a clear outline. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think banks, how much you can borrow? At the end of the day, banks want to lend you money. That is how they make money.
They make their money.
Yeah. Whether you like it or not, we've touched on it in a few episodes. Everyone, majority of people in Australia, give or take, I should say everyone, has got their money invested in the banks, directly or indirectly, whether it's bank shares, index funds, they've got
Super
investment properties with mortgages, super. Your super, if it's by default, you will have money invested in the banks. So if they're going shizer, then you won't be making as much money. But generally they do pretty well. They make some pretty juicy revenue.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But they also want to make sure you can pay them back too, I guess.
Valid point, and that's part of their risk assessment because at the end of the day, the banks are taking on the risk to lend you money. So you kind of need to show them, hey, I'm half reputable. I'm earning 80 grand a year. I've saved this much. Here's my last 2 years. I've managed to do all that. Good job. I don't know, whatever. Ticking those boxes will help you get a better deal with the bank and get your deal over the line. So, yeah, okay. That's
what if I've just started a business?
Yeah, valid point. General sort of rule of thumb, banks will want sort of 3 to 6 months of if you're just a normal employee working somewhere part-time, full-time. In this case, single person earning 80 or 90 grand a year, they're probably going to want, you know, pay slips, proven sort of savings history. If you've just kickstarted a small business working under ABN, sole trader, they're going to want a couple of years worth of I guess income or balance sheets, income and expenses records. Yeah. Just because it's quite different to working for a big company like Woolies. Yeah. Banks are probably a bit more comfortable to lend Billy Bob some money who's earning 80 grand a year at Woolies because Woolies, you know, big discretionary consumer, like big shopping market, most likely won't go under, whereas Billy Bob's plumbing has just started. His income's kind of up and down. The banks are going to want to know, man, if he borrows 600 grand, do
we trust Billy Bob?
Yeah, again, risk thing. The more you can prove to them, the better deal they can kind of offer you. Maybe potentially borrow more money. It might be at a better rate.
Better interest rate.
Those kinds of things. Okay.
What if I have like a $10,000 limit on my credit card or have like a car loan? Does that affect how much I can borrow?
It does. And I think we chatted to a really good broker earlier on. We've got an episode out with a guy called Dan Perkins, who's turned into a bit of a magician in Townsville and Queensland regarding lending. He can definitely give you a bit more detail on how the banks look at those certain bits of liabilities. Credit card, okay for things, but the banks see it as a bit of a red flag and they add a bit of a gross up percentage on it. You know, if it's a 10 grand credit card, it's going to knock your borrowing power down a fair bit.
Yeah, right. What if I pay off my car loan? Will that help me
less liability?
More loan?
Yeah, can. They look at a few. Look, having heaps of cash in the bank's great. Maybe having some assets is great, but at the end of the day, banks are after a big thing, which is the serviceability. Can you service this loan?
Can I pay the loan?
Yeah. You know, a lot of people talk about, well, you know, in this case, we're talking about someone earlier in the game earning 80-ish grand a year. They've saved 30 grand. Some people come at it with, they've got a few hundred grand saved up. They've really had a red hot crack at it. That's great. Banks might demand a bit more of a deposit because at the end of the day, if you sort of tell a bank, hey, I've got 200 grand, I want to borrow this, I'm going to put the rest in the offset. Banks are like, yeah, sure. Doesn't take much for Billy Bob to have a big week in Vegas and spend a heap of his money or...
Yeah. So,
you know, serviceability is the big one for them. But yes, credit cards, other loans, toy loans like caravans and boats, Proyana's shined on as nicely. What's the other, I guess, model they use? HEM?
Yes, household expenditure measure.
Yep. That's a bit of an acronym thrown around. Whether it's a broker or a bank, you chuck in your details, income, expenses. They'll run it through a bit of a model. I guess some people are like, oh, when I'm applying for a loan, I'll just tell them that I only spend $20 a week on food and booze. That's sort of lowers my expenses. Well, they understand this and they use realistic sort of national averages and data to go, well, no, the average person who's 25 earning 80 grand a year lives by themselves will spend this amount on food, fuel, clothes, subscriptions. I don't know how you're going to hide your OnlyFans account, but you know that subscription it'll show up somewhere.
This episode is getting highly edited.
Yeah, so doesn't have to be. It's not all R18. You can do music on OnlyFans. You're welcome.
Can you really?
You can.
There you go.
It's not all R18.
Oh, I'm learning.
There you go. You're welcome.
Back to the finance side. I was just looking at some benchmarks. So the HEM is kind of like an amount they think that you'd spend in expenses depending on your situation.
Yep.
And I've just got some rough figures here from a website, but just to give an example, like if you were single and had no children, the HEM they'd kind of look at for you, or your typical expenses might be $21,000 to $26,000 a year.
Yep, in expenses, yeah. And look, everyone's different because there are the people that spend most of their net pay and there are some that save diligently. I guess the way you can get around that maybe to have it work in your favour is probably providing them those bank statements that show, well, no, I'm actually not spending 22 grand a year is like that sort of average that you outlined. Here are my statements the last 6 months. I'm living off noodles and the free air.
Rice and lettuce, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even using the water. I'm showering down at the local creek. I don't know if that helps. But so, you know, proving that to the bank can definitely sort of help. But there are some of the, you know, they'll use some of that data that you outlined.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting too because that's single, no children, then a couple, 2 children, they'll say maybe your expenses are between 37 and 45 grand a year. So there's a bit of a jump, I guess. So if you have kids and that type of thing, I guess it affects your serviceability as well.
I'm going to get too emotional thinking about how much money I spend on my kids. Can we not talk about that?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring it up.
Yeah. Okay. Can we cut that and edit that, please? Because I'm starting to tear up. No, that was a joke.
No.
That's right. Okay, so just know the banks are going to use some of those models to sort of build into their risk appreciation of yourself.
And I guess they look at your income coming in minus that HEM or expenses, and then they look and see what's left over. Is it enough to make the repayments on the house? Yep,
that was my pen dropping anyway. Yeah, okay. That's...
And I guess it's different for each bank slightly, but just to give everyone an idea of how they calculate that and what they look at. But yeah.
All right. So while we're on that one, you touched on, and we've touched on it before, bank versus broker. Real quick, what are your thoughts? What are your 2 cents on it?
I'm lazy, so I like to use a mortgage broker because they do all the hard work for me.
Yep.
I don't have to go apply at each bank and fill out the same form 5 different times.
True. And I guess, again, unless you're really loyal to the banks, fair enough. But if you're applying or discussing with one bank, they're going to give you their products. Whereas a broker, I guess, hopefully they're a good one, reputable, have your best interests. They'll open your eyes to lots of lenders out there. Yeah, okay.
And I guess they do take their cut somewhere, but it could be worth it if you save, in the long term, of 0.5% on all.
Yeah, well, generally, brokers
rate.
don't charge any out of pocket expenses, but they will get a commission from that bank who you end up signing with. Usually it's both a loan amount commission and an ongoing loan commission. Yes. Perfectly legal, but that's essentially, look, no one should be, they shouldn't be offering their services for free. They will get paid.
Yes.
And I think it's still the case where some banks may offer different rates to brokers. Not that sways the deal, but they do get paid, like usually commission based plus some others to the broker. Fair enough, because the broker, depending on how good you are, like some brokers might spend several hours with you getting this over the line, back and forth. Hey, I need this. Can you send this? Tweak this. Hey, you might need to do this. Good brokers, like the one we discussed, Dan, he definitely keeps you updated with what's happening in the market. He generally reaches out. Those good ones will do that. I'm pretty sure he is a cuddler as well. I think I've got a couple. Maybe that was me forcing on him. I can't remember. But anyway.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Joe, mate. What's happening in the market? We've talked about sort of some of the things to consider. Line that up in your spare time. But at the other end of it, I definitely mentioned with clients, if you're looking for a house, don't start looking now. You should have been looking a few months ago to get just your finger on the pulse.
Yeah, I feel like I get that question a lot. Clients will ask, should I buy now or should I wait? Will the market go down? What if it goes up? Should I buy now? Otherwise, it's going to be harder to get in the market.
Right.
Which is a very good question.
Yep.
But if there's anything I've learned from the property market, is that it's common perception that the market will keep going up, but not always the case.
Short term or long term?
Probably more short term. That it'll have that kind of volatility. Like I guess in Townsville just before COVID, it was very stagnant. Like there wasn't much growth. But then COVID, like no one could predict COVID. No one knew it. If you ask someone
I disagree
7 years ago what COVID is, but
there's some people that knew about COVID.
There was, some smart in some people, but that severely affected the market, and now growth is crazy in Townsville.
Has been, and we touched on it at the start of the episode. Some people who just bought their house just to get in the market, normal everyday house, have now seen their worth and the equity in their house double, triple.
But like I was one of the people that bought just before all the COVID growth and stuff.
But you're one of them people.
But you don't know that. I didn't know that house markets were going to go crazy.
Why'd you end up buying a house? Why'd you buy a house?
It's just the right timing for us, personally.
Right. Yep. Didn't want to rent? Keep renting?
No, I think I've rented like 11 houses, so it's ready to...
Were you one of them bad tenants that didn't get your lease renewed? That's the only reason why you lived in London.
It was fine.
Holy shitsnagel.
I love to rent, but yeah.